Welcome back to Bible Study by the Pond. Rebel and I invite you to join us as we read Genesis chapter 32. Jacob also went on his way, and the angels of God met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, "This is the camp of God." So he named that place Mahanaim. I can understand that. God sent his angels to protect Jacob. Jacob was the heir of the Messiah, and so he needed protection. God protects his people. He loves his people. God does send his angels. I know the Lord sent an angel to me one time up in the mountains when I was hiking. Talked to me. God is not dead. God still lives, communicates, talks, works with those of us that love him, obey him, and put forth his truth. His truth is what he cares about. If we love it as like he does, it's amazing what God will do for us. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. He instructed them, "This is what you are to say to my master Esau. Your servant Jacob says, I have been staying with Laban and have remained there till now. I have cattle and donkeys, sheep and goats, men servants and maid servants. Now I am sending this message to my Lord, that I may find favor in his eyes." They're going to be living closer together. Remember, Jacob stole the birthright. He deceived his father. So he figured there's probably going to be animosity there. So he did everything in his power to let his brother know that there was no animosity left and that he was not coming back to take his rights, take the possessions. Notice what he said to Esau. He said, "Your servant Jacob." Jacob wanted him to know Jacob was humble, that Jacob was no longer interested in acquiring anything from the family. God would give Jacob whatever he needed, and God had given Jacob a lot. And so he just wanted to make amends. It was his way of saying, "I'm sorry." So he wanted Esau to know. He said, "I have cattle and donkeys, sheep and goats, men servants, maid servants. I am sending this message to my Lord." How often, when we get in an argument with somebody, when we have done somebody wrong, our egos, our pride, our backbone goes up, and we try to justify ourselves and to make ourselves look so righteous and that we're right. Folks, we need to be like Jesus. We need to be like Jacob. Humble ourselves. Be willing to love those that we have hurt and those that hurt us. We need to love them, humble ourselves before them, and recognize that we're all sinners on this planet. We're all striving to improve our lives, most of us anyway, and that we, especially those of us planning to go to heaven, need to truly develop our characters in love. Lay down the pride, lay down the ego, lay down the arrogance. Humble ourselves and let God do the lifting up. When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, "We went to your brother Esau, and now he is coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him." In great fear and distress, Jacob divided the people who were with him into two groups. and the flocks and herds and camels as well. He thought if Esau comes and attacks one group, the group that is left may escape. Jacob did everything he could, not outside of the plan of God, but within it. He did everything possible. In our lives, we should do the same. Not outside of God's plan, but within His plan. There's work for us to do. We have to put our minds to work in harmony with God. Then Jacob prayed, O God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, O Lord, who said to me, Go back to your country and your relatives, and I will make you prosper. I am unworthy of all the kindness and faithfulness you have shown your servant. I had only my staff when I crossed this Jordan, but now I have become two groups. Save me, I pray, from the hand of my brother Esau, for I am afraid he will come and attack me, and also the mothers with their children. But you have said, I will surely make you prosper, and will make your descendants like the sand of the sea, which cannot be counted. So even though Jacob prayed, even though he depended on God for the protection and the strength, he did what he could. He sent messengers to Esau to basically say, I'm sorry. I'm not here to take anything back. I have everything I need. He did what he could to pave the way. He spent the night there, and from what he had with him, he selected a gift for his brother Esau, 200 female goats and 20 male goats, and 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows and 10 bulls, and 20 female donkeys, and 10 male donkeys. He put them in the care of his servants, each herd by itself, and said to his servants, Go ahead of me, and keep some space between the herds. Again, when the writers of the New Testament read the Old Testament to gain the knowledge for their salvation and to share it with the people around them, they took the principles from the Old Testament. Love your enemies. Do good to them that despitefully use you. So here, Jacob put together a gift for his brother who hated him. How we need to do the same, to show our love to those who we know have something against us, to love them. Love conquers a multitude of sins. He instructed the one in the lead, When my brother Esau meets you and asks, To whom do you belong, and where are you going, and who owns all these animals in front of you? Then you are to say, They belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my Lord Esau, and he is coming behind us. Here Jacob is trying to pacify his brother. He's depending on God to move on his heart, but Jacob is doing everything in his power to smooth the way. He also instructed the second, the third, and all the others who followed the herds. You are to say the same thing to Esau when you meet him. And be sure to say, Your servant Jacob is coming behind us. Wanted to make sure his brother understood. Jacob was coming humbly, without the pride and the ego, without any claims to anything. For he thought, I will pacify him with these gifts I am sending on ahead. Later when I see him, perhaps he will receive me. So Jacob's gifts went on ahead of him, but he himself spent the night in the camp. In the New Testament, what are we told? We're to do all the good we can while on this earth. In a sense, we're sending our gifts ahead of us to heaven. That night Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 maidservants, and his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. After he had sent them across the stream, he sent over all his possessions. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked him, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he answered. Then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men and have overcome." Jacob said, "Please tell me your name." But he replied, "Why do you ask my name?" Then he blessed him there. So Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, "It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." The sun rose above him as he passed Peniel, and he was limping because of his hip. Therefore to this day the Israelites do not eat the tendon attached to the socket of the hip, because the socket of Jacob's hip was touched near the tendon. We must do all in our power to live at peace with those around us. Never let our ego, our pride, our arrogance get in the way. Never become like the world with my rights and I deserve this and you need to treat me like this. No. In all that we do, let us humble ourselves and be like Jesus. Let us serve. Let us be the ones to show the example of love. Even though others are treating us badly as we may see it, even though people may hate us, let us always love. Let us in every way possible break down the barriers of hate, the barriers that separate us. Let us draw people in with the love of Jesus. Let us give them so much love that they'll not be able to hold anything against us. God bless you today.